See, that's why I didn't want to be an actor.
Okay, so today is Tuesday, October 10th, 2017. My name is Edna Sussman. I'm a reference librarian at the Half Hollow Hills Community Library. We're interviewing Dominick A DiCicco, a Navy World War II veteran, as part of our Veterans Testimonial Project and in collaboration with the Library of Congress's Veterans History Project. Thank you so much, Dominick, for your service and for participating with us today.
Then you're welcome.
Okay, ready? So, Dominick, where and when were you born?
I was born in Manhattan, 1925.
What date was that in 1920?
August 1st, 1925.
Okay, and who were your parents, their names, and what did they do?
My parents were Angelo DiCicco and Mildred DiCicco. My dad was a butcher. He owned his own business. And my mother was a homemaker, but she was very good sewing and making garments and dresses and things like that.
How did she know how to do that?
Well, I guess when they were young, they learned how to sew when they were very young, you know. And she picked it up and enjoyed it, doing it, and did it most of her life.
Where were they born here, or?
My parents were born in Manhattan, New York.
And did your father serve in the military?
My father served in World War I.
In which
He was
branch?
in the service, I think, for 2 years, if I remember. Not that I remember, but
Yeah. And which branch was he in?
he was in the Army branch in the U.S. Army.
He served abroad?
No, he didn't serve abroad, but he was, I think, his training was in North Carolina, if I recall.
Uh-huh. Good. And what about any siblings? What were their names and genders? What did they, and if they served in the military?
Who's that?
Your siblings. You have any siblings?
I have 3 boys and I have a girl, and they didn't serve in any service.
These were your
No.
brothers, or those were your children?
She's talking about it.
My children.
Children. So what about any siblings of yours? Did you have any siblings?
Sisters.
Brothers and sisters?
I had 3 sisters and me.
Okay. And did they serve at all in the military, your sisters?
No.
No. Okay. What were their names?
Well, the oldest sister was Rose, and then Grace, then Virginia, and then Dolores.
Wow. 4 girls and a boy.
3 girls.
3?
No, Dominic, 4.
4 girls and a
Yeah.
boy. Yeah.
4 girls. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what were you doing before you entered the service?
I was working for the Associated Press in New York City. I left school at an early age,
High school, you mean?
high school.
You left before you graduated?
I left before I graduated, and I got an appointment with the Associated Press in the mailroom as a mail clerk. And I worked there for approximately 3 years until I got drafted into the Navy.
Now, why did you leave high school early?
Well, in those days, you would think of helping your family out, you know. Even though my dad had a butcher, there wasn't much money coming in, and we all had to go to work, even my sisters. But the only sister that graduated high school was my sister Dolores.
Virginia too.
I don't even know if she did.
And Dolores works for us at the library.
Pardon?
Dolores works for us at the library.
Dolores works at the library,
Yep.
yes.
And we're very happy with her. So here's, the next question I have is, you were drafted in what year?
1943.
43. And when you're drafted, you don't get to pick the branch, right? It was, or
Yes, we could have.
why did you pick the Navy?
Well, I really didn't pick them originally. I picked the Coast Guard.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes, and they said that you better pick a different branch
Why?
of service. They didn't give me a reason why.
Okay.
So I took the Navy because my dad told me in the Navy you'll be a little more cleaner.
You think that was true? You think it was true?
Probably was. I don't really know.
So, if what happened when you departed for training camp? This was 1943.
Yes.
Where did they take you to training camp?
Training camp was up in New York State, Simpson. Then I think the name of the camp was Simpson, if I recall.
Where was that?
But it was located just only miles from Canada. It was way up north.
North. Wow.
Yeah.
How long were you there for training?
4 months.
And what was it? Do you recall your instructors? What were they like?
I don't recall their names, but I think one of my instructors was named Anthony too. To tell you the truth, but I don't recall his last name.
What were they like?
Oh, he was a very nice gentleman. He was pretty young himself, actually, and he was I think he was a ensign training. And you know, we were up there for 4 months, and most of the time our training was getting up early, running around the track, and
Did you learn anything specialized, or what did you learn in training?
well, I put down that I was a butcher. I worked for my dad, but they said that you would have to do double duty because we don't have just special butchers. We have cooks, and they do both. So that's what I did, both things.
So did they give you the choice, or that's what they assigned for you to do?
That's what they assigned.
Were you okay with that?
I was okay with it, yeah.
But how was it adapting to military life? You know, the physical regimen and the food and the social life, the barracks, all that stuff.
Actually, the boot training was the most difficult because it was your first 4 months, you know, out from your home, you know, so you had to be on your own. I had just turned 18 years old at the time, so I was still fairly young, and it was a little hard getting used to the new, adapting to the new way of living. But you get used to it. It's like everything else, you know.
In the training, were you like in a big barracks, or what was that like?
Yes, we had a barracks up there, and there was several barracks, and we all were assigned to a company, and that's basically what it was up there. We did mostly toning your body up for what they expected, you know.
Did you still have to learn the military, procedures, I guess, but also defense and things like that? Everything?
You know, it's everything. It's a whole new thing.
Everybody learned the same in the beginning.
The same, yeah.
Yeah. Now, that was 1943. So, what happened after basic training?
Basic training, I was assigned to a ship in Norfolk, Virginia. I spent a couple of weeks in New York first, city, at Pier 92, which was a I don't know how you would call it. It was where most of the servicemen were there waiting to be scheduled to
Ship out?
another assignment.
Oh, I see.
And I was assigned to the ship, the USS Core, which was docked in Norfolk, Virginia. And we went by subway there, and
Subway to where?
well, not subway. We went by the
Train?
train, whatever it was. I don't remember.
Yeah. To Norfolk.
To Norfolk, Virginia, and we was a big group of us were marching towards the ship, and one of the officers pointed out the ship that we were assigned to, and I looked at it. It was, to me, it was very big, very big, you know. But the thing that got me, that I'm a superstitious guy,
Okay.
and the number of the ship was 13.
Oh my gosh. That's a lucky number in my family.
Oh, yeah?
My brother was born on Friday the 13th, so think of it that way.
So anyway, aboard ship, you have to get used to a different way of life, and you sort of you leave a family, but you gain a family.
Really?
Aboard
Yeah.
the ship.
So everybody kind of got to know each other, and it was,
Even though we had so many men on the ship, we had close to 900.
wow.
But you form groups, and they become your best friends.
Nice.
Your family, like, you know. And, you know, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we look out for one another.
Now, how long were you docked in Norfolk?
Oh, we were docked there, I would say about 2 or 3 weeks. And then we took off for the Atlantic Ocean.
What was the name of the ship again?
The USS Core,
Core.
C-O-R-E.
Now, while you were docked there, what was the purpose of being on the ship docked? You just learned more.
Well, we weren't there that long because they were waiting for the full crew to come.
Oh, I see.
So we came from New York. You had some from other stations.
I see.
So we waited, you know, to have the full crew.
Okay.
And we shipped out from Norfolk. We went to the Atlantic, and what we were doing in the Atlantic was trying to demoralize the submarines that the Germans, they used to call them U-boats, had, and they were destroying our freighters, which were sending supplies, food and ammunition to Europe, and mostly to France and England, and they were interfering with the motion of getting these ships to Europe, and they sunk quite a few of our freighters,
Wow.
which was hurting the war effort. But some general, or I don't know who it was, devised that maybe, see, we had tremendous aircraft carriers, and they were really too big for that kind of fighting. And this admiral, and I don't know if it was an admiral or part of the army or what, but anyway, they devised that building a smaller carrier would be more adaptable to get these submarines, the German submarines. And that's what they did. They built all these smaller aircraft carriers. I think it was out in Washington, the state of Washington. And that's how the small carrier came into view.
Was that the Core? Your ship was like
The
that?
USS Core, but there was quite a few of them in the Atlantic. And that our purpose was to get these U-boats out of the way.
How did, I mean, so there were people on your ship standing?
Well, we had aircraft on there.
Okay, oh, so they flew the aircraft?
The aircraft, we had approximately, I would say maybe 20, 25 aircraft.
Wow.
And some were fighters and some were bombers. And they had the radar, which used to kind of know where the subs are, and then relay the information to the captain, and that's where we pinpoint where we'd get the submarine.
Oh, I see, wow.
And the planes, and we had 2 destroyer escorts with us. They would, the destroyer escorts would have these, what we call ash cans, full of dynamite. And they would release them to where the U-boats were,
Release the dynamite?
the dynamites.
How?
Well, they had, they were on like pulleys, and they would just shoot off,
Oh,
you know. And we sunk quite a few German submarines.
wow.
And the whole thing is in the report that I gave you,
So,
how many submarines that we got rid of. And it wasn't only my ship, it was a couple of others that were involved.
well, your ship was basically protected by the destroyers on the side?
Yes, we had 2 destroyers on every aircraft carrier, and they would be one on one side, one on the other.
Wow. Did you feel, was it a little unsettling? I mean, did you feel safe, or how did?
Well, you know, you get into that mode, and you don't really feel like you feel that something could happen, but you're so busy doing things that it don't cross your mind.
Try
you know?
not to think about it.
Right. And you do what you're supposed to do, and you keep doing it. That's
And
all.
your job on the ship was what?
My job on the ship was keeping the men healthy
Nice. Did you actually?
and keeping them full.
Did you plan the meals too, or?
No, the meals were planned by a chief petty officer, and he planned the meals, and I had to follow the protocol of the meals. Every day was a different menu.
How did you know how to? You came from being a butcher. How did you know how to cook?
Well, I went to cook school for 2 months in Norfolk
Through the Navy.
in the Navy.
When was that? In '43, when you were
43, when I was assigned to the ship. Well, actually, I was assigned to the cooking school first.
Oh,
Then I went on the ship. So that was about 2 months I stood there. So, I became a cook, and that's what I did aboard ship.
did you like it?
Oh, I didn't mind it. It was hard work.
Yeah.
Because, I'm cooking for almost 900 men.
Wow.
And you got to get breakfast, you got to get lunch, and you got to get dinner.
You must have had a big staff, because how do you?
Well, how they worked it, I had three cooks with me, and each shift had 3 cooks. In other words, there were 3 different shifts. And that's how they arranged it. So the cooking, it comes to you pretty easy, because the school teaches you something, and getting right into doing it is not as hard as you think, because everything is pretty much
It's like an assembly line, kind of.
yes, everything is assembly line, but some of the meals were a little difficult, like Thanksgiving dinner aboard ship.
Oh wow.
It was very hectic, and
Bet.
Like it is in the kitchen today. It's
Yeah.
a hectic meal.
Yeah. Wow. So, did you have a separate crew to clean up,
We had special crews cleaning up.
or serve? They don't serve. The men go in line and take their food. Is that how that
They
works?
had special men doing that too.
Oh.
And usually the men doing the cleanup, I hate to say this, but they were the men that had got in trouble.
Oh, it was a
And
punishment.
this was a punishment for them.
Oh, jeez. How long would they have to serve? Is that KP duty? Is that what they call it?
It's called KP duty, yeah.
I mean-
But
How did they get enough people to be on KP? People.
they had enough guys messing up.
Oh, that's funny. Well, what kind of things did they have to do to
Well,
get
just
them?
mop the floor. And one thing about the Navy, my dad was right. They're very clean.
Clean.
And,
Nice.
the inspections, you had to have everything perfect. And
Including your bed and everything. Making it.
that's another part of it. But
Yeah.
in the kitchen, they were very, that was very important to them.
Well, I guess it's important for germs and bacteria
That's
and
right.
things.
That's why they had inspections there.
Uh-huh.
And I did fairly well, and I got a promotion.
Oh, wow.
They made me a second-class petty officer
How did you start out as what?
as a seaman, seaman first class, and I moved up to seaman second, then seaman third, then third-class petty officer, and then I made second-class petty officer. And when I made second-class petty officer, they sent me in the kitchen for the officers. I was cooking for them.
Was that a separate kitchen?
A separate kitchen, yeah.
Did they eat different food than the
A
men?
little different than the regular, regular guys.
Yeah.
But not that much different, it just prepared a little different, I
Okay.
guess.
Now, what kind of, you were on the sea most of the time on a boat.
Most of the time we were at sea.
When you left Norfolk, did you end up at a base in Europe or?
Our base was really in Norfolk. That's where our base was.
Oh, okay.
So even though we patrolled the Atlantic Ocean, every time we came back would be in Norfolk.
Oh, really?
Because
Okay.
if they had to do anything to the ship to repair them, that's where it was done. Except one time. One time in the Atlantic, we hit a hurricane. That was something that you never could imagine aboard ship.
Do you remember the name of the hurricane? Maybe they didn't name them then.
I don't remember. And if I did, I would want it.
Was that still 43?
That was, I would say it was in 44, maybe.
Okay.
45, I don't know. And the hurricane was so devastating that we lost two airplanes.
Wow.
They couldn't get back on the ship
Oh.
because it was so rough they couldn't land on the ship. And what happened is they had to dunk into the water, and we picked up the aviators.
Oh, you saved them.
We saved them.
Wow.
And the ship got pretty bad. Instead of going to Norfolk to get repairs, we went to Newfoundland. It was a shorter route from the Atlantic. That's how bad the ship was.
Wow.
So we stood there a few days until they repaired it. And
Was it hard to be on the ship during this hurricane? I mean, a lot of movement?
well,
You can believe it.
I'm laughing about it now, but it was devastating. I didn't think I would last.
Really?
And the close buddy was with me. We both got caught on the ladder going up to the flight deck, because that's the highest point of the ship. and we wanted to get to the highest point of the ship so the waves wouldn't come over us.
Oh my God, wow,
And which they finally did anyway, the waves.
really?
And what the captain does during a storm like that, which I didn't know till later on, is that when you're in a storm like that, the waves are going like this. And in order for the ship not to capsize, you have to go right into the storm.
Wow.
And that's what you do. You go right into the storm,
Wow.
and
So everything gets
At least the
water everywhere.
at least the ship don't go like this and
I
this.
see.
You know, it goes this way, but it won't capsize. You know.
Wow.
Anyway. So
Unbelievable.
that was one of the.
Do you remember how long that lasted?
It lasted a couple of hours. You know, like a normal storm does, I guess. A few hours.
So as the ship's going, they try to go out of the hurricane to steer.
Yes, they try to avoid the hurricane, but there's some things that happen with the captain, because when we went into Newfoundland, the captain was taken off the ship.
Oh,
I think we lost some planes to the storm, and maybe they thought he was not qualified or something. I don't know.
so you got a new
We
captain?
got a new captain in Newfoundland.
Wow. I mean, they wouldn't have taken him out of the service.
No, but
Just reassigned him?
Just reassigned him. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And then you went. How long did you stay in Newfoundland to get it fixed?
Just to get the ship repaired, and then we continued our, what we had to do. So
And then they replaced the planes that you lost?
yeah, they replaced the planes, and
So, were any people injured during your time on the
thank
ship?
God nobody was really injured. None of the crew was injured.
From the hurricane?
Yeah.
But what about during, when you were out in sea when there was activity going on, trying to get the submarines and things?
Well, no,
Your
we
ship
had
was safe.
nobody really got hurt from that, because the destroyer escorts used to do most of the cleaning up of the U-boats, and our planes used to do the rest. So,
Was that close enough for you to witness it or hear it?
oh yeah,
Really?
because during that, I was in a cook when they had general quarters. You had to man a gun.
Oh, everybody had
So
to.
I leave the kitchen and
Still have it downstairs?
I manned the no, that's not it.
No?
I manned the 20 millimeter gun, and everybody is, what you were doing before, you're not doing now.
Wow.
You're
protect-
you're in battle. That's
To
it.
protect everyone.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
What were you shooting at?
Well, we were preparing,
Just in case.
just in case, because we don't know if they're going to have planes coming over or what.
Oh, I see.
So you got to be prepared, And
Did that happen often?
it happened a couple of times and then the war ended and Germany gave up, and then we thought that, boy, we're all going to come home. It didn't happen that way, though.
How did it happen?
It happened that our ship was assigned to the Pacific,
Oh, wow.
because they still at that time were fighting the Japanese.
Right.
And
So the war ended basically in Germany. What year was that?
gee, I'm not sure really. Yeah.
But after that, then you went to.
We went
Pacific.
we went through the Panama Canal,
Uh-huh.
and we went to the Pacific. And our ship at that time, well, the Japanese gave up when they threw the atomic bomb. They threw the atomic bomb, and our ship was assigned at that time. Japanese gave up pretty quick after the bomb. They just. So we were assigned to pick up a lot of Army personnel that were at a lot of these little islands in the Pacific. They had so many little islands that we had our soldiers on.
Well, how long were you there before the Japanese surrendered, before the bomb was dropped in the Pacific?
How long I was in the Pacific?
Yeah.
Well, when the Japanese gave up, then we went to Japan.
You mean the Germans gave up? When the Germans gave up, then you went to Japan.
Well, the Germans gave up, and then the Japanese gave up.
Right. So I'm wondering, how long were you in the Pacific before that part of the war ended, the Japanese surrendered?
But I would say about a month or two. Because when they threw the bomb in Japan, they gave up almost
Right.
immediately.
Right.
And we had to go there, our ship, because being it was a bigger ship than a destroyer or any of those. We had to pick up our army personnel that were stationed all over, and the army personnel was in Japan too, because when Japan gave up, our army went in, So we had a lot of army personnel there, and our ship was assigned to pick up a lot of men that were in Japan.
To transport them where? Home?
To the States.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was there room on the ship?
Well, we had a lot of room. We had the hangar deck, which where the planes stay, but it's almost as big as the flight deck.
Oh.
So we had the cots all full of.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We filled up with cots, and we had the army personnel there, and a lot of them got seasick because
They're not used to it.
They're not used to the water.
How were you? Did you ever feel seasick?
I got seasick when I first went on the ship. But after that, I never did. I never got seasick
Good
anymore.
for you, yeah. Even during the hurricane?
When you're so busy doing something in a hurricane, you ain't got time to get seasick.
Wow, good for you. What kind of friendships and camaraderie did you form while serving? And with?
Well, we had a nice group of men that I hung out with. This one guy that lived in Ohio, we were very close. In fact, I think I have a picture of him. But
did you stay in touch afterwards with anyone?
I think we got. Well, you know how it is once you get the discharge. I think we wrote a letter to each, and then that that ended. But
there's no email back then. No. No. So how long before, when the war ended finally in Japan, how long until you then came home?
Well, we were discharged in different groups. So I was discharged in Seattle, Washington.
Was that 1945?
1946. I think it was April. Was it April? I think April in 46.
When did you finally leave Japan before that?
Well, we were there only a couple of days because we picked up all these army personnel, and we picked up, our captain says, if you guys want a souvenir, we have Japanese rifles that we'll ship home for you.
Did you claim one? You did. Good for you.
You want to see it?
Yeah, maybe after, and then I'll take a picture. So you left the Pacific to head home. How long did that take? From Japan, from the Pacific to come back to the States.
I don't know. I really don't remember. The length of the time.
Yeah. Okay. So then you were left in Washington?
Yeah.
State of Washington?
Our ship, docked in Washington, and that's where we were getting discharged from there.
Now, did the Navy then pay for you to come back to the East Coast or what?
Yes. They pay for you. I don't recall the amount, but I came home, excuse me, I came home by train from
Train?
Seattle.
How long did that take?
Took longer than the war.
Wow. That must have been a fun ride, though. At least you were safe.
Well, I tell you, it wasn't bad, you know. I mean, people on the train were very nice. I was still in my uniform. And, you know, they were very caring and nice on the train. And we made one stop in Chicago. And then we, from Seattle to Chicago and then to New York. And,
How long would you say that took? Like a week or?
oh boy, I don't know, I'm not sure.
Okay, but you ended up in New York.
New York, yeah.
How were you received by your family and friends?
You know, I don't even remember who picked me up.
Okay, but
I'm sure it was my father, but who was with him? I guess it was my uncle, because they always were together.
did they work together?
No, they didn't work together, but they were close.
So your parents must have been happy you were home.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would think so.
I never asked them.
How was it readjusting to civilian life? Now you weren't on a boat. You weren't eating Navy food. How was the readjustment?
Well, it was a little difficult, I gotta say.
Really?
But
In what way?
it's hard to put into words, really. Your mindset was aboard ship. Now you're coming home again, and like I said in the beginning, I was leaving a family aboard the ship, and I'm coming back to another family. So now you got to get used to this.
Right.
So.
Did you get the option to re-up? Or no? Did you get the option to stay in the service? Did they
Yes.
ask if you wanted to
Yes.
stay?
Yes, they gave me the option.
So why didn't you?
I really can't answer that. I don't know why.
Okay.
Maybe because, I had enough,
Okay. So I'm sorry I interrupted you. So when readjusting to being home again, did you start working again with your dad?
No. I went back to my old job in the Associated Press.
Oh,
And
what was that? What exactly did you do for them?
I was in charge of the mailroom.
Oh, yeah.
And I stood there, well, about maybe another year. And then I don't know, I guess I felt like it wasn't the work I wanted to do. So from there I got a few jobs, part-time jobs. And I worked in the post office for, I would say for about a year and a half, 2 years, down on the 33rd Street, the main post office.
That's in the city?
City, yeah. I worked there about a year and a half or two. And after that, I don't know what else I did, I forgot.
So you were in your early 20s, right? At this
Yeah.
point? Did you go back to school at all?
No. That's one of the mistakes I made. I had a chance to go back to school, but I didn't. And, you make these mistakes in life, and sometimes they work out good and sometimes they don't. But, I don't regret it. Whatever whatever I did, I try to do the best.
You got your diploma, pero
So what happened? So where did you work after then? What did you do after the?
Well, I had the post office job. I worked there for about a year or so. And then I don't know what I was doing after that now. But anyway, I still had the meat experience,
Uh-huh.
you know. So my uncle, who was a supervisor, he said, "Come and work for the chain." He was a supervisor.
For what type of company?
It was actually it became, believe it or not, A&P took them over.
Wow. So it's like a grocery
Yeah,
firm?
and then Warbaum's was part of A&P. So it was all, one company. So I worked, excuse me,
Sure.
The gang. Go ahead, Dolores, answer.
What did you do for them?
I was a meat cutter,
Oh, okay.
and I stood with them, and I say about 13
No,
years.
Really? I did forget to ask you something. When you were on the ship, how did you stay in touch with your family and friends?
Oh, we corresponded,
Mail?
but the mail was very slow,
bet.
when you're aboard ship.
But they wrote to you.
They wrote to me, and
Did you have any time to have recreational
well, you had
stuff?
some recreation on the ship. They purposely do that so you don't get become depressed.
Yeah.
So we had like little tournaments and
Oh, yeah.
basketball and stuff, and we had a little boxing, and that's I did some of that, and
But you didn't go to different ports and stay there. You always went back to Norfolk.
that was our home port.
Right,
They called
but
it home port.
You didn't, for recreation, you didn't stop at other cities.
yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we're in the Navy.
Oh, so where was those?
Well, in Europe, we stopped at Ireland. Ireland, what's north of Ireland?
North of Ireland?
Yeah,
Scotland?
Scotland?
Scotland. We stopped in Scotland,
Nice.
and we, to stop with a ship, you're always one day only.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, like in Panama, we were one day, so it's always a 1 or 2 day thing. So it's not a long thing.
But you got off the ship and went...
Sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't. We went even to Hawaii when we were in the Pacific. And over there we only had like 1 day. So we just had our own recreation.
Okay.
And we had Scotland, and I don't think we went to England, no.
Uh-huh.
No. What else? Japan, we went to.
Okay. Okay, so since separating from the military, you went back to the AP, you worked for the post office, and then for the grocery.
Then I worked in the chain.
The chain, yeah.
Store.
How do you think, is there anything you can think of about your service that we haven't covered? Were you injured at all, or hospitalized while you were serving?
Well, I got injured, but it wasn't. It was my own fault.
Oh,
Yeah, we had what they call general headquarters. When you have that, all the stairwells, they block off, and you got to run to your assignment. My assignment was the 20 millimeter, and I was running to my assignment, and all of a sudden they closed the hatch,
ooh,
and the hatch caught my head,
oh God.
and
Wow.
gave me a nice gash.
Were you knocked out?
No, wasn't knocked out, but the corpsman took care of it. He put some stitches in or what.
Really?
When you're young, you don't. You don't.
But you weren't knocked out.
No.
Oh, thank
No.
God.
I should have been though.
But you didn't have to stay in the sick bay for any
Well, they
time.
just bandaged it.
Oh, okay. How do you think your wartime experiences affected your life?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's great for a young guy to get in there for a couple of years and be on your own and have a little regimentation that you got to follow. It does them more good than harm because life, don't hand you the ball of it. You got to do work for it. So I think in that sense, you grow up a little quicker.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
What are some other life lessons you learned from the military?
so life what?
Life lessons.
Oh. Well, one thing is you gain closeness with a buddy, and once the war is over, you break away, and then you make other friends. I had always a lot of friends, in civilian life. I've always had guys that we piled out with.
So how do you think your military service impacted your feelings about war and the military in general?
Oh, about war is it's ridiculous. I mean, things should be handled without going to war. War is the easy way out, But
How do you feel about the military in general?
I think the military is great. It really is. I think we have the best military in the world. And we get very good training. And I think a lot of the kids today, they need some of that.
What message would you like to leave for future generations that might hear this interview?
Well, I think that the best thing you could do is become a good person. Become a good citizen. And always do something for your country. Don't always wait for your country to do something for you.
That's good. Good advice. Dominic, anything else you'd like to add that we haven't covered? Anything you can think of that we haven't covered?
I think we'll have some spaghetti now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dominic, for your service and for sharing all your memories with us. We really, really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're a very nice person.
Thank you. All right, hold on one second. Let's...